AI is not going away. It's here to stay. If you think that it's just a fad, get ready to get left in the dust by brokers who understand what it is and how it works.
Welcome to Benefits Broker Boost, the show that gives employee benefits brokers practical strategies to grow, scale, and streamline their business. Presented by Plansight, where innovation meets efficiency in employee benefits. Now, let's dive in.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Benefits Broker Boost. I'm joined today by Dennis Walker from USI. Dennis, thanks for joining us.
Good to be here, man.
Yeah, it's exciting to have you in the office. We're both local. We found that out coincidentally.
Entirely by accident when I started commenting on some regular stuff that from LinkedIn, and then you figured out I'm 10 minutes up the road from you.
Yeah. Yes, we grabbed lunch and got to chat with Dennis about the way he's building his book. He's got a really interesting background, which is why I want to have him on here. You know, he's been in the insurance space for a long time, has built a team of producers, and recently, about a year ago, a little over a year ago, switched to producing for USI. So yeah, walk us through that history. You know, how'd you get your start in benefits? What did building that team? I think you had 10 reps that you built that out to. What did that look like? And then specifically, you know, we like to add as much value for producers that watch this show, brokers that watch this show as we can. So specifically transitioning what you learned in building out a team and producing while building that team out that you're bringing over to building out your book at USI.
Yeah, I mean, they aren't joking when they say entrepreneurship is not for the weak. You have to be mentally tough. You have to have grit, and you have to have desire to just get out of bed and keep building every morning, because there's days when that's not easy. It's not fun, and not everything goes right all the time. So we built that team with the intent of building out a much larger agency. And it was very interesting. There was only a couple of us who were bringing in clients at first. And then all of a sudden, everyone seemed to get it all at once. And I think I credit that to my consistent training, taking agents out on calls, going on their calls with them, walking indoors together, training them on what to say on the phone, insisting that they made those calls and holding them accountable to it. And when they wouldn't, I would put them on a performance plan that they could beat. And that performance plan was designed to help identify where their skill sets lacked. And they beat it. One decided to go contractor route and continue to sell with us. And he was an assassin, really. I could hand him anything that had kind of become a dead deal or had stalled out, or if I had an inbound lead, I would hand it to him and he would go close it. So his strength was the inbounder or resurrection. I had another one. She was very good at walking indoors and getting people to like her. And we had another really young agent. He was only 26. He didn't look it, but when he started to talk, you could tell there was an experience there. And coaching him up on just the consistent activity alone started to make the difference right away. And so more calls equals more sales was what worked there. But the key is every agent's different. And you have to coach to their differences, to their skills, but you've got to identify what those skills are, how to teach them what a good deal and a bad deal looks like. We had about 15 agents come through the doors, and we were built up to a total of about 10 of us at the peak of it. And it was, it was a great experience. And I miss running that team. I miss being with them. But at the same time, like, coming over to USI has been just one of the best moves in my career.
Yeah. So what are the things that you learned there? Because you produced while building that team.
I did.
What are the things that you learned there that are helping you build out your book at USI?
Understand the intricacies of the policies. Really get down and dig into it. Understand the areas where the carriers pad profits. There's 14 areas where carriers look at it and that affects your rates. 9 of those they can pad profits into, and 5 of them are related around pharma. Learn how that works, because when it's time to take a client self-funded, 1, you need to know how self-funding works, but 2, you need to understand where the risk is and isn't in that client. And learning how the fully insured product first really works, helps that. The other thing I learned was get your client to a point where they can be in a level funded plan And that's very early. Most groups should be level funded,
Mhm.
especially if they're under 100 people. You need the data. You need to understand what's going on inside of the group, but don't just show up with data and say, okay, this is what your claims are. Show up with real ideas on how they can control those claims.
Mhm.
And then over time, help evolve that into a way where they can control the plan, really get a base pricing understood by the core executives. They need to know like what's the risk driving this, how to design that plan, and then how to make it work for them, not just from a risk standpoint, but also from a tax standpoint as you move them into a self-funded model of some kind.
Yeah. I like what you said there. You have to come with some ideas and strategies on the table of how they can make their benefits program better, right? How they can save money, how they can provide more to their employees. And that is becoming more and more prevalent
Yes.
with increasing costs, with more and more people, more and more younger generations just completely opting out of health insurance altogether.
It's disturbing.
So I was reading a post the other day that the person was making a comment that sometimes sellers, which most producers are sellers, don't get sold to as much as the people that they're selling to. So you come up with this email that you're sure is unique and they've never seen it before. And the chances are they've got 4 of them the same day, right?
Yeah.
Because maybe you haven't been prospected that way, or that producer hasn't been prospected that way. I run a marketing team. I get 400 emails every single day that are trying to sell me different marketing services. So walk us through, just kind of a sample of here's something that I would identify in a plan that I'm trying to like break into. And here's how I would get their attention to actually have a conversation with them about it.
Yeah. Let me preface that by I have the perspective of having worked as a sales trainer. That was another business that I owned some time ago.
Mhm.
And I still continue to do sales trainings for fun.
Yeah.
So I have that perspective. I ran a marketing agency myself and have written content, have run content writers as a team, and have proofed what they were doing. And I was a sales manager at my last agency. So I've seen what does and doesn't work. That gives maybe a unique
Yeah.
perspective within the industry. And the fourth thing is I have made a point to get to know others within our industry at various agencies. And I know several of the producers in there. We share ideas on how we can help control plans. So to answer your question, what sounds different versus what sounds the same, never ask how are you doing today when you pick up the phone
Mhm.
or when you send an email. They will immediately discard that. And especially if you try that in a LinkedIn direct message, everybody is asking, how are you doing today? As soon as I hear that and it's a voice I don't recognize, I know it's a sales call.
Yeah.
Second thing is take sales calls from other vendors or similar adjacent agencies that, general agencies that can support you. Take their sales calls and learn from them. Learn what looks good, learn what doesn't, learn what sounds the same.
Mhm.
But if you really want to sound different, learn how claims are landing within most clients' plans within your area specifically. So in Utah, where we're at, claims tend to land front door in the Intermountain Healthcare Network. How can we prevent a lot of those front door claims from hitting? And when I bring that idea up, most of the CFOs that I'm working with, they're like, what do you mean?
Mhm.
Prevent claims from hitting the plan. The claims are the claims. Well, no, they're not. And I'm not going to get into serious details on how we do it at USI, but one I can share up front is direct primary care.
Mhm.
This takes claims out of the plan almost entirely. You can track with many direct primary care providers how many visits there are, what kind of meds have been prescribed. It takes meds off the plan as well, up to 5,000 of them, depending on the DPC provider. Go subscription route wherever you can, not just on DPC, but on scripts and anything else, because that's going to remove claims from the plan. That regular utilization is part of what's driven the costs up. Pharma is set to be at 40% of claims by 2030. It's insane.
Crazy.
So let's get most of that spend off. We don't use our car insurance to get oil changes.
No.
We either pay for it up front in cash or we buy 3 at a time, and then we go get them
Yep.
then, right? And we use that up. Same idea here. We shouldn't be using an all of these small claims for our daily medical care. We should be moving back to a cash model, especially if what we're seeing go ahead. So those are some of the ideas that a
Yep.
lot of us forward-thinking brokers throughout this valley anyway are starting to bring to our clients.
Yeah. One thing that you said, don't get lost in the sameness. Right? There's a lot of sameness. And I think we talked about this last time we talked, is that I market enough that when I get an email, I can identify what tool they used, what prompts they used, what hooks they're looking for. And so, I mean, just to give you an example, I've been in my current role for about 9 months. At the 6-month mark, guess how many emails I got that said, "Hey, you're 6 months in." Okay, probably 300. So they probably thought, "Wow, that's so customized to Adam. He's going to love this." And I got several hundred of them in my inbox. Anytime I was like 6 months in, delete,
Gone.
delete, delete. Not like, so be careful that what you think is customization doesn't become sameness, and understand that they're getting 40 different brokers.
Yes.
That if you're just trying to use a tool and let's say like, this is the silver bullet tool, it's not going to work because everyone's got the silver bullet tool.
Interestingly enough, the sameness that we're hearing right now is around level funded plans,
Mhm.
right? And we had a prospect tell one of our brokers inside our office 6, 7 weeks ago, listen, if you tell me level funded plan is what I need to do, he's like, I'm going to throw you right out of here because every other broker has told me that. And we said, okay, yeah, we do want you in one, but that's just where we're getting started. And he started entertaining a conversation with Rocco in my office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, think through that. How do you come with a strategy that's not the same thing they're hearing from everyone else? How do you prospect into them in a way that's not the same as everyone else? You know, how do you cut through the noise that is all of these people's day to day?
Yeah,
Heads of HR,
yeah,
CFOs, they're getting
they get a ton
yeah,
of this noise,
yep,
right?
all the noise.
I love an introduction. So networking is a very important part of that. And they love an introduction too,
Mhm.
right? Hey, this guy knows what he's talking about. I had a buying experience with him that was good. Please meet. Or, maybe he's helped a lot of our clients if it's coming from like a payroll partner
Mhm.
or someone like you, who has an, experience working in the C-suite. So there's the introductions that you can gain through networking are probably the very best way to do it. I like walking indoors.
Mhm.
A lot of people are just using AI right now to reach out. When I walk in a door, they're almost surprised to see a human
Mhm.
in the insurance space. That's really unique right now. I'm calling company lines
Mhm.
instead of cell phones because things are blocked now
Screened.
on
Yeah.
cell phones totally, right? And it doesn't mean I'm not going to get through the occasional one, but I started the company line because chances are I'm going to be able to gather information from whatever front desk or gatekeeper or HR person takes the call first. And then from there, let's build some trust. Let's identify who's going to meet with me. Still, when they are correctly targeted, hey, I've noticed this issue on your 5500. This is where I see costs increasing, or maybe there's a compliance problem, or maybe this piece might be missing altogether. Here's how I think I can help. Typically, this starts with just seeing where you are right now.
Mhm.
And I would like to get the whole picture. If you don't think I can help, feel free to ignore me.
Yeah.
And I'll be dropping by at this time if you want to have a conversation. So that's what I do. And then you've got to follow up and drop in.
Yeah.
Do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah. That's great. You probably know Sims Tillerson,
I do.
but I did a marketing episode with him, and he mentioned something that, you know, as a marketer, you understand, but he iterated it really well. He said, we don't have the luxury of having a single pronged prospecting approach anymore.
No.
There's not well, I just sent this cold email and now my pipeline is just packed. It doesn't exist. Or
Again, you have to get through the noise.
Yeah.
You have to get through the spam filters. You have to know what that looks like. A good prospecting agent should have at least a fair command of digital marketing.
Mhm.
And I don't mean logging into LinkedIn and DMing everybody. I mean really building a personal brand on LinkedIn, on Facebook, if that's what's where your audience is, and some of them are there, and then commenting on their whatever post or item they're leaving on there, that may naturally progress to the direct messages and set meetings, right?
Yeah.
But for me, I've seen social media and email be a much slower funnel than just picking up the phone, walking indoors, or networking.
Mm-hmm.
It's not to say it doesn't work, because it does.
Yeah.
Eventually.
It works as a part of a strategy.
Right.
Anyone that tells you it works as the strategy is trying to sell you cold email. I'm not kidding.
I know you are. I know you aren't. It's true. Or they're trying to sell you an AI direct message service. It's one of the two.
Or they might get you some leads, but they will destroy your name and reputation in your industry because they're going to put four emails per person in front of every prospect. They're not going to abide by opt-out lists.
This brings up a really important thing. Don't hire unlicensed people to do outreach for you. They don't know our business. They don't know how it works. I get tons of outreach asking to do cold email, cold DMs, and cold calls even for me. I won't let them do it because they don't understand the questions that are going to be asked. They're just going to be driving for that appointment, and it will absolutely burn my reputation. And it could end up with the Department of Insurance at my door saying, hey, you've got unlicensed people selling for you.
Yeah. So that's the multi-prong is a must. So when you call that business line and you talk to somebody and then you send the email and say, hey, I had the chance to chat with so-and-so. Also, they mentioned you're the decision maker here. Also, I noticed this on your 5500. Now you're actually using the customized email to the person and you're mentioning things that might actually capture their attention. Okay, he's called, he's talked to, Susan at the front. She mentioned that I was the one. He's done his due diligence on our 5500, knows that we have these things in place, has some ideas. And now you've multi-pronged you've used both things that sometimes a lot of people will say neither of those are worth the time, but combined with the right strategy can be. So let's talk through technology.
Sure.
What are the technology systems that you're using right now? And then once you've kind of laid out what your tech stack looks like, what are the irreplaceable pieces of that tech stack?
CRM. You have to have one. You need to use it. You've got to keep track of every interaction that you have with the client. This is important not just for making sales move along through the pipe and screening qualified deals, but it's also important for compliance reasons, right? I try to keep a decade back, which is longer than the requirement of any interactions I've had. That's saved me.
Yeah.
So that's tech item number one. I use LinkedIn Sales Navigator and LinkedIn together every day, where I'm finding information, looking at people. I like for data verification, I like Lusha. It's inexpensive. It's accurate. I have, out of the thousands of phone numbers that I've extracted out of Lusha, I have had maybe a half dozen be wrong. Wow. It's a phenomenal tool. They do a great job. So shout out to the team at Lusha. If you're watching this, love you guys and really appreciate your reasonable pricing. I've got 3 seats for $35 a month.
That's great.
It's no joke. It's great.
Yeah.
I use them every day to get direct information. And I use Copilot. That's what we're forced into in our organization. But we've gratefully got a really smart AI team working on the back, and they've integrated with GPT, as well as I know they're working on an Anthropic integration as well. Make sure that you are using the Think Deeper. And I can go in maybe a little later in the episode on how I've built out my AI helps. But I have a specific benefits analyzer that I've built, as well as a prospecting agent. Both of those have been very helpful because they have their specific job. They know how to do it well, and they keep learning from it.
Yeah. So are those things, those are your irreplaceables?
Those are my irreplaceable.
That's that. Yeah, take notes of those. There's some really good ones in there. I'll plug the CRM really quick. I just got back. We were talking about this. I just got back from a conference and a room full of producers. And someone made a comment of, we know producers don't like to update the CRM, and everyone laughed and agreed. And it's that way pretty much everywhere. I've never worked at a company that the salespeople loved or were very good at updating the CRM,
Less than 20% of us are good at details. So
but
I get it,
it's so helpful.
right?
And let me give a real world example. Was chatting with at this same event, was chatting with someone at dinner. They said, yeah, we're looking at using you. Actually, our GA is in the process of getting started. If they like it, we're gonna move over to it. And so I was able to go in our CRM. Luckily, we have some automations that detail a lot of information out in our CRM. So I was able to go find who the GA was and see that there was some conversations back and forth from this prospect to their sales rep introducing the GA, and then that GA had then demoed. But if that wasn't updated, I would have been like, I would hopefully asked. But I was able to see in HubSpot, that's our CRM. Okay, this prospect actually has a contract out for signature. They've had good demos. The notes on it were that yeah, they asked for the contract, but he didn't know if they were ready for it yet. But he sent it. And so I was able to reach out to the sales rep and just say, hey, by the way, ABC broker over here that introduced them is really hoping they get it. So use that as kind of like a, hey, we just chatted with them at this event. They're excited about you guys getting started and they signed yesterday. So that's the details that if those didn't exist, it might have still gone through. I don't know, but it definitely helps it.
They're so important though to put at least an outline of what happened,
Yep.
but the more detailed you can be, the better. So I just set time aside every morning to enter my notes in from the day before.
Yep.
I do that before I check my email. Sometimes I'll do it before I leave the house, even. Especially if I know traffic's going to be bad. I've got a bit of a longer commute to the office, so do make the time to update those notes. And if your organization is willing, use a CRM that will give you AI summaries of what's going on in there too.
Yep.
Go ahead and scan it, right?
Yep.
Make sure that the AI got it right. It usually does. But the AI summary can also help give you just an immediate glance. Oh yeah, this account is being worked. There's a contract, likelihood of closing here. And I don't know if most producers are like I am or not, but I prospect like a madman. So not everything's going to be at the front of my memory. So those notes are going to be super important to help refresh me before I go in for the next appointment as I'm preparing with my team for whatever proposal or broker of record, post or pre that we're doing there.
Yeah. And if you can, this has been super helpful for us. Have something that's transcribing all of your calls, all of your meetings. And then it doesn't need to necessarily write all of those transcriptions back into your CRM.
Yep.
But it should make those available for you so that you can, when you need to remember what happened in a call, pull the transcription, put it into whatever your AI of choice for your company is and say, hey, what do I need to remember from this? Bullet point out the important details. Who do I need to be following up with here? And then that's what you can put in the notes in your CRM. But that's been huge for us. We have one that automatically writes all those back, links the videos, links the transcriptions.
At the previous agency, recording one of those interactions saved us from reputational damage, right? We were accused of lying. Really what happened is the prospect didn't understand what we were saying. But because she did accuse us of lying, I just went ahead and sent her the recording and say, hey, this is what we said. It's in the recording. You'll note this was your interaction. You received this positively. If you still want to do business, that's great. But if not, that's fine. I wasn't sad to see her go because she was very quick to turn on us. Don't keep those type of clients. They're not great. But at least it saved us from reputational damage.
Definitely. Okay, so let's go into you teased this a little bit earlier, but let's go into the AI help tools that you've built.
Yeah.
How have you set those up? How are you feeding those, pulling information from those, and using those? I was on a panel at this event that I just got back from about AI. I think there's a lot of questions about how are we strategically using AI inside of agencies within the bounds that we know we're allowed to use them. And I think everyone's eager to do that. So I'm curious how you've done that.
Where do I start, Adam? AI is not going away. It's here to stay. If you think that it's just a fad, get ready to get left in the dust by brokers who understand what it is and how it works. So to that end, you need to learn how it works. AIs think in what's called tokens. And a token is a word or a part of a word or a fraction or a math formula of some kind. And it then matches what's most likely by statistical algorithm to come next.
Mm-hmm.
It does have the ability to go double, triple, quadruple check its information. So I've built a safe into a fail safe within my models that if it's still assuming by a certain point, it's going to go back, triple check its information and source all of the places that it's pulling that information from. Just to give you an idea of how it does make things up. And I'm sure by now everybody's seen an AI hallucinate at least once.
Mm-hmm.
But before I tied in any sources, any ability to go search the internet to my benefits analyzer model that I built out, I asked it to provide some case studies for me. It made them up out of thin air. I came back and I said, hey, if you're making things up, Mr. Model, that's not helpful to me. AI is programmed first to be confident and then to be helpful. And so you have to build those guardrails in and over time continue to reinforce those guardrails. Otherwise, it will go off and it'll make things up or it'll incorrectly pattern match. Sometimes it gets lazy and just wants to work too quickly. That's called compression. So I built in compression restraints as well as in my prompts. I tell it to think thoroughly, go find the information, source it. That right there has helped reduce hallucinations by 95%
Mm-hmm.
for my models. So learn how AI works at its core, and then you can control it better.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's going to control you, and you're not even going to realize it. Because I've learned how it writes and how it thinks, I can immediately identify on social media or anywhere else an AI generated article, post, video,
Mm-hmm.
all of it.
Yeah. That's so. It's really key to understand continually grounding your AI model in data, so that doesn't make that stuff up. But also, as you put prompts in, the more specific you can get, the better it's going to be.
That's exactly right. And I try to tell it, hey, you're a broker benefits agent with 15 years of experience.
Yep.
And this is the type of client that you work with. And here's what we're looking to accomplish. Please analyze this information and then tell me what's going on inside this group. The specificity is really important. However, succinct specificity, because the more words you use, the longer it takes to think, the more likely it is to start pattern matching. Some folks like to talk to their AI like it's a person. I know that blows other people's minds. I call my model Jim Bob, and he and I are tight. But to that end, those conversations do still take up token space, right?
Mm-hmm.
It slows down the thinking. So my model knows who he is. And that's how he identifies to me now. And that's how I know that's like my safety fallback is like, okay, this is actually my model talking to me that I've built out. But don't spend time making it your friend, right?
Okay.
Don't build a relationship with it. This is a tool, a bot that you're in control of. Don't let it control you. So how do I use it in my everyday work to answer that question? I'd like to gather information as early as possible from the client. Census data, benefits booklets, etc. I will then claims data if at all possible, and then I'll feed that into my AI, have it read through everything. I use Copilot in our organization only for this because it protects that data. If you put anything through OpenAI, where Google owns ChatGPT, their contract says they own that data.
Yes, you have to purposefully set it up with guardrails, but out of the box, don't put any sensitive information in the ChatGPT cloud, because the guardrails are not there for it to potentially bleed over into what the model knows
or what the whole company does, right? And at that point, you're violating HIPAA. You have to be very careful with this. So use an internal model that has shared data blocked so it doesn't go back, right? So that's why we use Copilot where we are. And then we've been able to build in some arrangements with some of the other AI companies out there, but it has to go through our Copilot encryption.
Yeah. So just for people that don't understand this, let me kind of conceptualize this, right? Someone asked me at dinner 2 nights ago, they're like, how do you ensure that the data is not getting out? And when I just use browser-based Claude, browser-based ChatGPT out of the box. I don't have that. I don't have a BAA.
Nope.
I don't have any assurance that they're not going to use my information to feed something else.
And they will use
Yes.
it to feed something.
So this is a large language model. So think of it as when I want to partition this large language model and say, don't share this information back, think of it as creating a box, taking this brain that exists, and this brain is continually learning and saying, okay, brain, based on everything that you know right now, function in this box for our company, right? And it's not communicating back to main brain, it's here. And then when you want updates, you've got to go purposefully update said brain. It's not updating, it's not going back and forth. Now all the data stays. You can put BAAs in place so that you are HIPAA compliant. But if you're putting census data in, if you're putting any sensitive information in, it's not just, hey, help me reword this email that's not sensitive. Make sure that it's set up correctly.
Yep. It's almost like putting it in a skiff box. You just got to lock it in there and make sure that no information can get in or out. So if you don't understand how that works and you're running an agency, but you want to get AI moving within your agency, you need to hire someone who understands this. It will make your life a lot less insane trying to control it. But these, if you hire a good CTO who has a great command of AI, that will help you stay compliant, not have regulators knocking at your door. So I use that every day in that analysis. Internally, we also have an AI built into we call it our Omni system. I can't go too much into detail on how that works, but that system allows us to project savings through ideas. And we have a large language model built into that to help us generate ideas. Again, that one's built in. It's got safety guardrails built around it. A couple weekends ago, it went off the rails. And so I was working on a Saturday, just getting some prep work done. And I noticed that the pattern wasn't what it was normally supposed to do. And so I went over to Copilot and said, hey, I'm experiencing this. Tell me what's going on. Copilot said, ask it these questions. And one of the first ones was, tell me your identity. And instead of it being the Omni AI LLM, it was said, I'm the USI helper. Okay, well, do what you're supposed to do. So I gave it its guidelines. It showed me raw code. So, even with a genius AI team that we have at USI, and they're very good, AIs will still go off the rails. So you have to watch and control it tightly. They were working all weekend to get that under control as they were rolling out an update. And that was part of the reason why it went off the rails, but it stopped working at some point the Thursday night before that. So they worked all weekend, and shout out to Kate and our team there internally. They do just such a great job training everyone on how it works. And then we have another set of company-wide agents that help on specific tasks as well. So client or prospect research, tons and tons of stuff in there. And I'm actually building a couple of agents to drop in there as well right now. It's been very fun working with the nerds on our team, where I can nerd out myself and learn from them and see what the trends are around AI and how to make that controlled. How to stay compliant with them, what they're scared of. And anybody who knows a lot about AI has a lot they're scared of about it too. And also to learn how to help my coworkers who don't understand it yet. So if you do understand it, you've got people in your agency who maybe don't understand how AI works and they're willing to learn, take time, mentor them, show them how to use it. And again, this is the third time I'm saying this. AI will control you if you don't learn how to control it, and help your coworkers, those working in your agencies, understand how to handle it. Invest in training classes. But I'm using AI every single day. I'll use it to make prospecting routes for drops. I'll use it for pre-call approach. And by the way, I'm researching every client before I call them. I'm not just picking up the phone and randomly dialing cold. And AI is very much part of that research process. I'm using it to prepare for the first meeting, for the second meeting, for the proposal, all of it.
I want to just go back really quickly to the specificity that AI requires. AI is really good at executing specific processes.
Yes.
So if I can iterate what my process is very clearly, it almost always does it correctly.
That's correct.
If I give it, so example, I do a lot of search engine optimization. If I say, I want you to do A, B, C, D on this page, look for these things, go grab this information, update this. If I give it that exact process, it will knock it out of the park.
Yep.
10 times out of 10. Doesn't hallucinate. It just follows the instructions. If I say, go optimize this page, that's when hallucinations, it might do the right thing one time, but it might do 15 different things the next time. So
You're never going to get the same result twice when you give it such vague instructions.
So my suggestion there, when people are like, okay, how do I get it to do the same thing consistently, is if you can't describe your process really clearly to someone that you're teaching to do it, and if you can't describe it with that clarity, describe what you can and have AI help you fill the rest in on how it would do that process. So don't give it the, hey, go do this process for me. Ask it, these are the things that I know I've got to do. What else should I be doing? Help me finalize this process. And then take that process and then prompt AI with that. So AI is really good at helping you conceptualize and build the process.
Yes.
And then once you have the process, it's really good at executing on the process. But if you try to get to do both simultaneously, that's when variances will start to kick in. So when you need it to repeat tasks, as specific as possible, if you can't be specific enough, trying to get it to do something that you don't know how to do, have it teach you how to do it first, then document it, then prompt it with that process. So,
and this is where agents come in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Learn how to build an agent within your models and have that agent do just that task.
Executing on
because then it learns it over and over and over again, and it becomes very good at it. But if it has all of the things going on in its memory, it can pull pieces together. It can start to hallucinate. It can switch things around. The more specific you are, job, requests, prompts, the better results you're going to see.
Yeah. So don't shy away from AI. Use it the right way. Understand how it works. Understand how to control it, and it can make your life significantly easier. That's the outcome of that conversation question. Okay, so we've got a little bit of time left. I want to go into this. So I like to say, if people take the time, the 45 minutes to an hour out of their day to watch an episode of this, I want them to walk away with things that they can do tomorrow that help them grow their book of business.
Yeah.
I think you've already given quite a few of those. I want to highlight that there's a big divide in the employee benefits brokerage space. This conference that I went to last week, in the room, I would say 60% of them were 55 and older.
I believe that.
The other ones were probably under 30. There's a divide there of people that are having a hard time getting through that chasm of getting their book to the place that all of the legacy brokers have gotten theirs to.
Yes.
And there's also a concern from the older generation that there's no one that they can kind of like give their book off to that understands it well enough. You're kind of right in the middle of that, right? And
makes me a rare bird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of things that you've done to understand the industry, to be able to transition through that, unproven to someone that's a seasoned broker that's built teams, what are the things that you did that helped you learn the nuances of level funding, of self-funding, of things you could look for in helping someone craft a better plan?
Yeah. First would be find a mentor who knows this business and has been doing it a long time. There are a couple of guys in my office with 32 plus years experience. Now I've got 15. That's a fair amount of time, but these guys literally have twice the experience and then some that I have. So I lean on them with a lot of questions about intricacies that I might have missed. You've got to remember, and I remember Brian Lubin saying this on his Action Academy podcast, boomers and the greatest generation before them, these folks built businesses with paper. And a lot of them did dial in their process as well. But I started out writing policies on paper 15 years ago. The insurance industry, if you are in it, it's slow to adapt technology, much less fully adopt it. These guys have started with paper applications, keeping files, staying organized, using a touch tone phone, not a cell phone like we had. There was no text messaging. Their email was an annoyance and they were sometimes forced into it. But paper and fax machines was how they did nearly everything for a long time.
Yep.
And you have to have a level of respect for that hustle. And so if there's anything I can communicate to the 30 and under, it's these guys know the job much better than you and I ever can at this age.
Mm.
And I'm 38. I'll be 40 next year. So 39 this coming birthday. The older I get, the more humble it makes me because I realize how much I don't know about my own industry. Pick up books, ask your AI models to teach you about the inner workings of policies, have your mentor go on appointments with you. Find an agency that has older folks working in it as well as mid career guys like myself.
Mhm.
I wouldn't say I'm anywhere close to peaking yet. Just looking at where these guys are and knowing the kind of money that they've been able to make, and I do fine.
Mhm.
These guys, I mean, I know a single account paid him $1 million a year. I don't know if I'd have that much commission coming in on a single account, but to be able to convince a client to pay you that much means you have to be very good at managing policies. So learn how to not just sell them, not just design them, but then also how to service them. Learn from these guys and how often they're going in the room. Now, there are some of them who are just sitting on their books. They
Mhm.
show up once a year, 4 weeks ahead of renewal, and say, hey, here's 20%. That's the best I can do for you. Stay the hell away from those guys. They
Mhm.
are not your friend and they are not your client's friends, and go take all of their business.
Mhm.
Get it out of their hands before they can sell it because they're going to sell it to the wrong person. Go take their business. But there's plenty of older guys who know how to service a client and can help them keep their plan controlled, learn from them and have them mentor you,
Mhm.
as well as mid career guys like myself. My partner, Dustin, he's 36. He's probably one of the wisest guys in the business I know. He doesn't miss details. Partner with people who don't miss details and partner with people who will hold you accountable. Hire account management teams who will hold you accountable to your tasks. Work with them, listen to them, learn from them. Do the same. They'll do that for you as well if you're willing to give first. Treat them kindly. Bring them treats.
Mhm.
Drop off that pack of Dr. Pepper if that's what makes them happy.
Yeah, definitely. That's really, really good advice. I always say, so I'm 9 months in this industry, right? I'm drinking from a fire hose still.
But you're still an experienced CMO, Adam.
Yeah.
So give
I mean,
yourself some credit.
I've got the marketing capability.
Yeah.
Definitely. I have to learn a whole industry, 4,000 acronyms. But yeah, it's been really helpful for me to have all of these conversations and to just index the things that I'm not understanding, right? And write them down. And then you mentioned this, but go to go to ChatGPT, go to Gemini, go to Claude and say, hey, teach me about this. Like, I don't know anything about this.
Yeah.
I should know about it. What do I need to know about it? And it's pretty good at like from a base level understanding, explaining those things. So that's something new that we didn't have a decade ago, right?
And it's a huge advantage.
It's made.
But there's stuff out on YouTube even, right?
Mm.
Plenty of experienced agents on there you can learn from.
Yep.
And don't just learn about your type of insurance.
Right.
Learn about all types of insurance. I can tell you how most P&C policy works.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you how life insurance works. Now I did start there. I can tell you even how bonds work, and I have a good command of investments. Learn about alternative management methods like an 831B. If you don't know what that is, it's a huge advantage for companies sitting on a lot of cash that may have an otherwise uninsurable or very expensive risk that they need to manage. Learn these tools and tricks of the trades because it's going to help maybe you not even just close business, but it's going to help build authority with your clients, with your referrals, with your prospects. So maybe you do put a standard plan in place, but they can see that you have this much knowledge and you can expound on it in a way that a elementary child can understand it.
Yeah. That's great advice. Um, okay. So last question. I think we're running up on time, but, um, and I like to ask this question of everyone. The industry is changing really, really fast.
So fast.
And the increase last year, plus the estimated increases this year, is going to force even faster change, in my opinion.
Yes.
What makes you most excited about being in this space in the next 5 years, and where do you see those changes happening?
I see subscription models, to take us in full circle on this
Mhm.
conversation today. I see those becoming the wave of the future. Okay. Um, if the Democrats win midterms and then they win in the next presidential election, I'm willing to bet that some type of stronger single payer program comes forward. They're going to push that. I don't personally like that. I don't think that's the right idea. I think that should be left to the states. So if that kind of gives you a view on my personal political views. But I also know that the Republicans and the libertarians and the centrists and everybody else in this country knows that healthcare is broken right now. It can be fixed though. And should the Republicans keep control, should they continue to push changes, I think you're going to see freeing up of the market, like we have, for instance, with HSA now being allowed to pay for direct primary care. I think you're going to see more solutions like that that will come to market that are creative. And then I think you're going to see, again, more subscription based models show up. Tier one type care, where companies that are similar to TPAs, but they don't quite call themselves that, start showing up. Things like Nomi and Savos Health,
Mhm.
those two groups have created some really strong tier one networks that can help control costs. And then you can typically layer on a normal insurance plan. I think you're going to see deductibles maybe be frozen out at some point soon. Again, if the Democrats maintain power, I wouldn't be surprised if they put a cap on deductibles and on out of pocket maxes for in network.
The Republicans maintain power.
Sorry, if the Democrats get power.
Okay.
Yeah. If they get power, I wouldn't be surprised to see some kind of cap there. If the Republicans get it, I think they could even be convinced to put some type of, probably a higher cap or maybe out of network. But I think you're going to see out of network coverage start to go away almost entirely. And HR directors, CFOs need to learn how to teach their people how to stay in network.
Mm.
Hire an agent that will help with that. We are seeing a lot of increased claims expenses on out of network claims, and I think that's going to continue to go up too. Um, if nothing changes, that would put us in a very bad place 5 years from now. Like I said earlier in the podcast, 40% of claims expenditures expected to be on RX by 2030. That's
great.
4 years out.
Yeah.
That's not very far. Last year, I saw increases on plans of 100% and 200%. These were some mismanaged PEO plans that should not have put these groups in there. But the fact is those types of increases are being handed out. It's unacceptable, but that's where we are. So I think we're going to see more subscriptions in the RX space. I think we're going to see tier one strategies at zero deductible, zero copay for even specialists. And then I think we're going to see a lot of creativity from the market on both sides, no matter who's in power, because we all know something's got to change. And I don't personally ever plan to subscribe to single payer care. So I'm looking for these types of solutions for me and my family. We are direct primary care members.
Mhm.
I'm very excited about the freedom that creates. I think we're going to see continued evolved technology around video calls, kits being sent out to members of these direct primary care, where you can take your blood pressure, you can check your heart rate, you can do all of these things, and then it can feed, via Bluetooth into your phone. Then they can see right there what's going on. I think we're going to see an expansion of concierge type service where care comes to your home or to your office. I had one of those memberships and it's absolutely incredible. And when you talk to the Europeans, that concierge high level type service is only for the very wealthy. But here in America, we've been able to bring it down on the ground level for as little as $45 a month for a family. This is the direction that has got me super excited. And dude, I hate needles, but I would much rather be on my personal living room couch getting poked with a needle than in some cold doctor's office. I know I'm going to pass out in. And that's just a miserable experience. If I'm going to pass out, I'd rather do it at home. The comfort of care, I think, is starting to come back. And so we're going to be able to take what was done well in the 1950s and couple it up with modern technology and continue to move in that direction. I also tend to think that charity is going to grow in this space because, and I say this as a conservative capitalist, there is a widening wealth gap. There's no question about that.
No.
Something needs to be done there. And for those of us who do make money, we have a responsibility to start charities, to fund good charities, and to help those who need care that can't afford it in the current circumstance get that care. Ron Paul has talked a lot about how he had that experience in the 1960s as a young doctor. And he says to his memory, no one was ever turned away for care because they couldn't pay for it. I'd like to get back to that place. And I believe that's on the horizon in society again, because turning somebody away because they can't afford it, or maybe they just don't understand it and they think they've been turned away, is 100% unacceptable.
Definitely. So I think a lot of this, the expediting of this, is something that is causing a lot of stress to brokers.
Yes,
The expediting is coming from employers
it is.
saying, I can't pay that.
No.
100% increase. We can't afford that. And that requiring more creativity, that requiring different solutions. And now the broker is needing to find different solutions, opens the entrepreneurs to come in and create solutions that fill those needs. And so I think I think you're right. I think we will see that continually expediting to change the way that healthcare is consumed in the United States.
And consumed is the right word, right? We are consumers. We are the end users of it. There's a couple things I could leave. The first is be creative, sound different, because if you don't, you're not going to keep your book. Things are going in such a fast direction that young creative agents who come in are going to snatch that up from you if you're just doing the same old, same old. But two is make sure that the CEO, whenever possible, is engaged in the buying process, as well as the monitoring and control process. Have him in the room. Even if he has things moved down to a team for the everyday, the CEO ought to be driving that conversation about healthcare because they have a strategic mind, and that's why they're where they are. Some of them have told me, well, listen, I don't understand anything about it, Dennis. I don't want anything to do with it. Don't be afraid to call them on that. And when I've said, hey, look, I need you in the room because this is your company and these are your people, and I know you care about them, I will teach you how this works in a way that you will understand it and you'll be able to hold your people accountable for good or bad decisions. Well, they like that talk. They like that a lot. There is a well-known CEO here in this valley who told me that 2-3 years ago. And I said, okay, I understand, but I still want you in the room. And then you and I go to lunch. I'll buy, you learn. And he said, okay. And he's not currently my client right now, but I imagine he'll be back on my books in about 6 months. He calls me every month with a healthcare question. He's learning about it, right? And he's excited. He sees the direction. And he's got such a creative mind where he's now coming up with ideas around healthcare for his next business, which is really exciting, right? So you can make a difference if you're willing to treat executives like the people that they are, like your equals. You are an equal to them because you have knowledge they don't. You have knowledge their HR team and their CFO don't have. Their legal officer doesn't have this level of expertise. They understand finance. They understand budgets. They understand contracts and compliance. They understand the law, all of them, in a very good way. But we understand in our industry how policies work, how to design them well if we pay attention, and then how to help them control it. If you don't understand those things, I'm glad you're listening. There's a ton of resources out there for you.
Well, I appreciate you sharing. This has been really, really great. And I think anyone watching has gotten some things they can really take and run with to help grow their books of business. Employers are watching. I'm sure they're like, well, what do I need to be making sure I'm doing? So this has been another episode of Benefits Broker Boost. Thanks so much for watching. Dennis, thanks for being here with us. And
absolute pleasure.
remember, be better tomorrow than you were today.